Welcome to this week's Dream Car judging video here at BOTB. We'd now like to hand over to today's lawyer from Onside Law who'll oversee the proceedings.
My name's George Cottle from Onside Law and I'll be overseeing the judging this morning. Firstly, I can confirm that the competition data has already been sent to the auditing company as is. I would now like today's judges to introduce themselves and, using the secure link provided, mark on the screen where they think the centre of the ball should be. The group will then come to a final panel decision.
Good morning, my name's Matt Cannon. I'm the senior county referee and footballer.
Good morning, my name's Hugh Gilroy. I'm a referee, a mentor, a tutor and observer.
Good morning, my name's Andy Braithwaite and I'm a football referee, mentor and licensed observer.
Good morning, my name is Alain Goma. I'm an ex-professional football player, having played for Paris Saint-Germain, Newcastle and Fulham.
Hi, my name is Kieran Fitzgibbon. I've played football for more than 30 years and I'm now a senior county referee.
Hi, my name's Renee Hector and I'm a coach for Watford FC Women Development and I coach for Tottenham Hotspur Foundation.
I'm Nigel Hicks. I've been a Supply League match official for over 30 years and I'm an experienced football administrator.
Hello, my name's Wendy Martin. I've previously played for Tottenham Hotspur Ladies and currently play beach soccer for England and Great Britain.
Judges, please now come to a final panel decision. For your reference, the larger white cross is the calculated average of the 8 individual selections.
Thank you very much, George. Good morning, everybody. Before I draw some lines in, Hugh, I'm going to come to you. There's your green cross magnified. You're ever so slightly the lowest of the choices. If you could explain what you're seeing in the photograph, where the ball's coming in from, and let us know how you reached your decision, please.
Sure thing. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, for me, 2 players in shot. I felt the blue player is defending this. I don't know. He just looks like he's set, and I think is looking forward towards the ball as it comes in. For me, the red slightly trying to get a position in front of him. I think to try and flick this on as an attacker through to someone else. I felt it's come from right to left, and I think it's obviously in the foreground. I don't think it's that close to them yet because they're not starting to try and play the ball, but I think they're both still trying to get a position. The left looks like he's got his hand on the blue, sorry, he's got his hand on the red shoulder, so just trying to get into best position as this still comes in and they both go for it. So I think it's coming in with a little bit of height from right to left.
And any favourite, do you think?
I don't see either kind of leading at the moment. I think obviously red is slightly in front, but blue's, I think, in a better position body wise. He's set, so I still think it's even for blue either to come kind of over the top, jump and meet it, or red to come in front and flick it on. So I think it's relatively even for me.
Yeah. Okay, great. So I shall draw some lines up from the blue player's eye, up through Andy's at the top, and Alan's at the bottom, and then I'll draw a line up from this one eye from the red, up through Wendy's, and across through both Nigel and Alan. So Alan, I'll come to you next. Yours is the blue cross, dark blue cross magnified there. What did you see?
Yeah, no, thanks, Matt. Yeah, no, I agree with the Hugh analysis. I think the ball is going from right to left. The blue is in a defensive position, so I think it's going to try to head the ball back from where it comes from. The red player seems to be adjusting his upper body in order to flick this ball. I thought the blue player, we got a clear eye from him actually. So I thought he was looking not flat, but up, but not too high. The red player was a bit more tricky because we got one eye and he's half closed, so it was difficult to judge the distance from the ball. But no, I think for me the blue player is the favorite to hit the ball. It looks more stable, focused, and confident. Yeah, for me, he's going to win the ball.
Great, thank you. And on the same trajectory up from the player in red is yours, Nigel, through Alaz, just a little bit higher and a bit further away. There's your light blue cross. Do you agree with that?
Thanks, Matt. Morning, everyone. Yes, to answer your question, Matt, I do definitely agree with the analysis by Hugh and Alan. I see the ball pretty much on the same plane as the player in blue, and I agree with Hugh's analysis. I see they're tensing for position. The red's got his arm across the front of the blue, and the blue is leaning on the shoulder of the red as well as they contest for that. So I don't see a clear favourite out of that. Looking at their eyes in particular, the player in blue, I feel is looking fairly much straight out from at 90 degrees from his face. So that was where I took my trajectory for the player in blue, is pretty much straight out. And the player in red for me is an interesting one. His eyebrows are furrowed, so I feel he's trying to look up, but his eyes, you can't see much of the top of his pupil. So I didn't feel he's looking as steeply as some of my colleagues, simply for that reason that we can see a fair bit of his pupil there. And whilst I think he's attempting to look up, and he's also looking across, I think, as well, because he's not in the foreground as the ball is. But for me, it's not that steep an angle, but I think the ball has still got some way to travel. So there's time for them to move closer together. But for me, that's where the trajectory crosses.
Okay, thank you. And then I'm going to pop across to the other side of the calculated average. So I'll come to you first, Wendy. There's your pink cross. What did you see?
I do think that the blue player is favourite to win the ball, just because I think of his position of his left arm on the shoulder of the red player. I think it's going to be very difficult for the red player to be able to sort of get any sort of elevation or jump with the blue player's arm in that position. I think the blue player would actually maybe even use the red player to support him to sort of get off the ground a little bit. So I do think the blue player's favourite for me. He just looks much sort of stronger, solid body position, and looks like he's going to go through the ball with his head, I think, there and clear it. I've got it a little bit nearer the players. I did think, because of the furrowed brows and the way they are tussling, I did think that contact was fairly with the ball was fairly imminent, and also the player in red, I've gone a little bit because although as I think it was Nigel said, his eyes, there wasn't lots of white under his eyes, his actual head is tilted back at an angle, so he's already got some sort of elevation in terms of the way he's looking, and then obviously his eyes as well were looking up.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'll come to myself next, just because I'm next doors to your Wendy and agree with that, absolutely everything you said. I thought the blue player was a favourite. I thought his puffed out cheek sort of showed a bit more concentration than the player in red, who I thought looked like he'd been knocked off. Obviously, he's got his furrowed brow, bit of sweat underneath his chin, which again suggests he's just sort of been nudged out the way. And I thought, again, the ball's coming right to left. And I personally thought that the blue was favourite for the ball. So up on that sort of rough trajectory up from the player in blue, at a bit further away is yours, Andy. Yours is the yellow cross there. How did you reach your decision?
Thanks, Matt. Pretty much the same as the last two of you there, Wendy and yourself. I feel that the guy in red has been caught under the ball a little bit, and as was said, the guy in blue has got his left arm sort of almost. Well, he will intentionally sort of hold him down, hold him back. The guy in red, his head, as has been said, is tilted. I feel he's looking a lot sharper. As I said, I think he's been caught under the ball, and the guy in blue, I think, is favourite. He's got his eyes firmly set on the centre of the ball, and as far as he's concerned, we'll head it as it comes down.
Yeah, thank you. And a little bit further away, a little bit lower on that trajectory is yours, Kieran. Yours is the orange cross. There you are, magnified. What did you see?
Thanks, Matt. I think the player in blue is favourite to win this ball. I think the player in blue is in position, looking, the ball's coming directly towards him. I think the player in red has leaned across into the player in blue just to try and get in front, and possibly to try and disrupt. I tried to work out how close the ball was, and I looked at the player in red, and with the furrowed brow, and it looked like his eyes were squinting. And then I wondered whether, because there's a little bit of sunshine on his forehead, whether looking at the spectators, many of them wearing sunglasses, whether maybe he was in the sun line and that was the reason why he was squinting, because normally you'd suspect the ball would be closer. Whereas I felt the player in blue is in control, looking at the ball's coming in, looking away, the eyes are still wide open. So I thought it was a little bit further away. So that's why I thought the player in red perhaps was squinting, that it's just a case of perhaps where he's looking into the sun. I think the player in red is just trying to get across the player in blue, but I would make the blue favourite to win the ball. The blue might disrupt and maybe get a little bit of a touch of the head on, but not controlled header. But I felt that the blue player was looking directly at the ball, and that's why I placed my cross there.
Yeah, thank you. And lastly, Renee, I've left you to last, the purple cross right next to the calculated average, because you're next to the calculated average in the middle of us all. What did you see?
Yeah, I actually found this one quite difficult today, Max. I think when both players are looking in the same direction, it's tough to know sort of how far away the ball is. And I originally had my cross a bit further out to the right and a bit higher. But upon sort of really focusing on the player in red's eye line, I just felt like it was just that little bit steeper, not too steep, because as we always say, you can't look sort of through your eyebrows. So I did feel like it was a bit more out in front of him. But I agree with the last few judges in terms of the player in blue. It was likely to be the favourite, and the player in red is obviously trying to get his right arm across the blue and get in front. But I just feel like the player in blue has a little bit more control. So that's why I put my cross there, because I just looked at the eye lines.
Yeah. So the vast majority think that the blue player is favourite for this ball. We've got a couple who think that it's more of a contested ball. If I draw a couple more lines up, firstly from this player in red through this calculated average, and pretty much Renee's, we see the sort of 4 below, 4 above. If you count Renee's as being just slightly above. And again, from this player in blue, we go through Renee's. And there's Renee's in the middle, 3 below, 4 above. So it's a fairly even split. If I hover the magnifier over the calculated average there, you see we have Kieran's a little bit further away and just popping out at the top, and Wendy's on the left, again, sort of equally sort of popping out the bottom. It was interesting what I thought Renee said about being a little bit further away. And we've discussed this before, that what we're talking about is milliseconds of the ball. And we obviously don't know how fast the ball's coming in, but we know it's imminent from the players' expressions. So my personal opinion is that I think we should judge with this calculated average, simply because Kieran and Wendy's are roughly on the same trajectory, and we're talking again about mirroring it, in my view. If we remove one, say Wendy's, it comes across to the middle and pretty much encompasses everybody, but Kieran is popping out the top. And again, if we go the other direction and drop Kieran's out, Wendy's is still popping out, and then you see Nigel's popping out as well. So it sort of complicates it, in my own personal opinion. But if I can come through you all on the list and see what you'd like to see, and then whether we have a panel decision to remove anybody, I'd value that. So Hugh?
Yeah, happy with both in. I think it's a good average where it is. And I also think we're kind of almost a circle all the way around with every single point. So no one's clearly out. I think it's good with everyone in.
Great. Andy?
I'm satisfied with that average. That's good.
Yeah. Alain?
Yeah, happy with the average as it is.
Kieran?
Yeah, I'm happy with that, Matt.
Renee?
Yeah, like the average where it is.
Yeah. Nigel?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a loose cluster today. I mean, if it was a tighter cluster with just one person out, then it might be a discussion. But I think with the cluster as loose as it is, we're all roughly the same distance from the crossbar one, and happy with that.
Yeah, and also I'd say that I know we haven't got to Wendy yet, that it's not as though anyone is right out of the magnifier. Wendy?
Yeah, I like the average as it is.
Okay, so there we are. We're sort of clustered, as Nigel's put it, in a loose cluster around this calculated average, with Rennie sort of bullseye in the middle. So George, after a good discussion, we decided to judge at this calculated average with all judges' choices remaining.
Great, thanks, Matt. Please click submit. Thank you, judges. The selected coordinates are 2449, 1155. These coordinates will now be passed to the auditing company ASITS to calculate the winner of the competition, and they will then inform BOTB. That concludes the judging process. Thank you.